And herein lies the dilemma that we all face. The negative impact of population growth on all of our planetary ecosystems is becoming appallingly evident.
We've got to stabilize the population. When I was born, there were
so what's wrong with the population? I mean,
we're too many people. That's why we have global warming. We have global warming because too many people are using too much stuff. But if there were less people, they'd be using less stuff.
In one way or another, we are so far, globally, we are so far above the population and the consumption levels which can be supported by this planet that I know in one way or another it's going to come back down.
Unless nations will agree to work together to tackle these cross-border challenges posed by population growth, overconsumption of resources, and environmental degradation, the prospects for a decent life on our planet will be threatened.
Gas explosion tears through Russian bioweapons lab containing smallpox, Ebola, and HIV virus, sparking major emergency.
That is absolutely wonderful, because as an environmentalist, I say to myself, the best possible news would be some mega emergency which got rid of huge chunks of the human race.
This equation has four factors, a little bit of multiplication. So you've got a thing on the left, CO2, that you want to get to zero. And that's going to be based on the number of people, the services each person's using on average, the energy on average for each service, and the CO2 being put out per unit of energy. So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to zero.
When we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population, more of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water.
The recent UN meeting in Cairo is appropriately focused on one of these key issues, population growth.
The planet can support something like 1 billion people, maybe 2 billion, depending on how much liberty and how much material consumption you want to have. If you want more liberty and more consumption, you have to have fewer people.
First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
The biggest question maybe in economics and politics of the coming decades will be what to do with all these useless people, what to do with them, and how will they find some sense of meaning in life when they are basically meaningless, worthless.
We want to have freedom and we want to have a high census, so we're going to have 1 billion people. And we're now at 7, so we have to get back down.
We just don't need the vast majority of the population.
The United Nations can and should play an essential role in helping the world find a satisfactory way of stabilizing world population and stimulating economic development in a manner that is sensitive to religious and moral considerations.
I hope that this can be slow, relatively slow, and that it can be done in a way which is relatively equal, so that people share the experience and you don't have a few rich, trying to force everybody else to deal with it.
What do you see as the biggest challenges in conservation?
The growing human population. Because where we are, there's nothing else.
And do you have views about what should be done about that?
Can't you guess?
So in the session we just attended here at the Economic Forum, I think there was a sense of relief, actually, in your frankness. You brought up some issues that others are reluctant to bring up.
Always. All the religious groups are against me because I'm talking about population. They want more souls. I want less on the planet.